Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Metropolis Radio. Today we are talking about Jackass Forever and the fact that it is a box office hit. Now, a couple of things, guys. This video is a compendium to my video on Moonfall and the fact that it was a box office bomb. So if you have not watched that video, I would suggest that you do so before watching this one. And remember, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, at least one of my videos every week will not be coming to the YouTube channel. It will be exclusive to BitChute, Odyssey, and Rumble. If you're watching this on YouTube, the links to those platforms are down in the description below. But anyway, guys, let's get right into this video and talk about why Jackass Forever's box office performance is so good. Jackass Forever, the fourth main installment in the long-running franchise, opened to rave reviews and box office success in its opening weekend. Jackass Forever, the fourth main installment in the long-running franchise, was a big box office success in its opening weekend. Johnny Knoxville, Chris Pontius, Steve-O, and the rest of the Jackass gang returned to cinemas after 12 years for another round of daredevil hijinks. Prior to its release, it was uncertain whether Jackass's premise of grown men intentionally hurting themselves had run its course and if there was still an audience for this type of comedy on the big screen. With Jackass Forever opening above expectations, its success speaks for itself. Comedies in general have struggled at the box office in recent years, with studios more concerned with superheroes and establishing shared universes wherever they can. Comedies have retreated to the relatively financial safety of television and streaming services such as Netflix and HBO Max, ironic given that Jackass started as a television show that evolved into a movie series. But this deficiency in the marketplace worked in Jackass Forever's favor, with its loyal fanbase and ability to attract new fans, making the movie a must-see cinematic experience. Jackass started out as a reality comedy series for MTV, running for 3 seasons between 2000 and 2002. When the show finished, the team produced Jackass the movie, which came out in 2002, which meant to conclude the franchise and be their farewell to the fans. 4 years later, though, Jackass number 2 was released, followed by Jackass 3D in 2010. While there was talk of a fourth Jackass film, it took 12 years for it to become a reality. Jackass Presents Bad Grandpa was released in the interim, but is a spin-off from the main series. Jackass Forever earned positive reviews and opened at #1 at the box office, showing that the series is still popular as ever, despite the franchise being over 20 years old at this point. Jackass Forever had a very modest price tag of $10 million. This is comparable to the other Jackass movies, which historically don't cost a lot to produce given the simple nature of the premise. And its opening weekend at the domestic box office, the movie earned $23.1 million, more than doubling its budget, not including marketing costs and distribution, in only 3 days. Showing at 3,604 theaters, it had a per-screen average of $6,250 and earned an additional $5.2 million from 9 overseas markets. While the stunt-heavy Jackass Forever was always expected to be the #1 movie on its opening weekend, it still exceeded industry expectations of a $15 million opening. Jackass Forever also faced competition from the week's other release, the disaster movie Moonfall. This is why this video is acting as a compendium. That movie, though, was a disaster in more ways than one, only grossing $9.8 million against a whopping estimated $138 to $146 million budget, as we just brought up in the prior video. And guys, just to put Jackass Forever into perspective, the first Jackass movie that came out in 2002 only had a budget of $5 million, and that movie's opening weekend gross was $22,763,437 back in 2002, with a final worldwide gross of $79,493,831. Now let's take a look at Jackass number 2. Jackass number 2 had over twice the budget at $11.5 million. Opening weekend at the time, this was back in 2006, was $29,002,002, with a final worldwide gross of $84,645,164. Now, if we look at Jackass 3D, Jackass 3D was the most successful Jackass movie in terms of box office, with an estimated budget of $20 million. Its opening weekend was $50,353,641 worldwide. That is, I believe, more. No, it is doing some quick math. That is the opening weekend grosses of Jackass the movie and Jackass number 2 combined. With a worldwide gross for Jackass 3D coming in at $171,685,792. Doing some quick math again, 84 mil plus 79. I think Jackass 3, it's Jackass 3D if I'm doing my math right. Okay, yeah, I'm definitely doing my math right. Jackass 3D grossed more money than Jackass the movie and Jackass number 2 combined. And they brought up Bad Grandpa, so let's look at Bad Grandpa. Budget of $15 million, opening weekend $32,055,177. The final worldwide gross was $151,826,547. Now, if most movies most of your like summer blockbuster movies, if they made that much money during their theatrical run, just like 150 million, 170 million tops, they'd be considered box office bombs. But like I brought up, and this is why I mentioned the budgets. The budgets are so low that, if these movies only grossed, in the $30 to $50 million range, they would be classified as box office hits. So let's go. I know I've tangented off for too long, but again, guys, I wanted to make sure that you understood like the history of Jackass in the sense that none of these movies ever truly bombed. All of them did actually make money. Jackass Forever's box office success is a combination of factors. Nostalgia can't be underestimated, as longtime fans of the series didn't want to miss the chance to see the gang back together on the big screen after so many years. Jackass Forever also brought in its fair share of new fans as well. Johnny Knoxville has been doing the publicity rounds for the movie, including some WWE appearances that trended on social media. Yeah, when he was going around and saying he was going to win the Royal Rumble and then he got eliminated in like 30 seconds, that was actually pretty funny. His efforts worked, with 67% of Jackass Forever's weekend audience being between 18 to 34 years old, meaning that some of them wouldn't have even been born when the Jackass show originally aired. Jackass Forever also benefited from being exclusive to cinemas with no streaming or digital purchase option, such as the controversial Warner Bros. HBO Max deal for their 2021 slate of movies. But again, as we pointed out in the prior video, Moonfall was also exclusive to theaters, and that movie did bomb. So just because Jackass Forever was exclusive to the movie theaters, that may have benefited Jackass Forever, but it's not the only reason why it's a hit. Additionally, with the 2-year anniversary of COVID restrictions coming up, Jackass Forever appealed to audiences who may well have just wanted to forget about the real world troubles and laugh at stupidly funny stunts for 96 minutes. Finally, a key for Jackass Forever's box office success is its good reviews. It received the best critical reception of all the Jackass movies, with an 85% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. All the Jackass movies have been well received by the fans and been financially successful. We just pointed this out just a few minutes ago. Notwithstanding this, while Jackass Forever's box office opening was good in comparison to its budget, it was on the lower end when compared to other Jackass movies. Jackass the movie cost $5 million to make and opened to $22.8 million domestically, and the end made $79.5 million. Okay, we already went over all this stuff in a prior segment. Jackass 3D is the highest grossing movie. Okay, this is something I didn't know. From a budget of $20 million, the movie opened to $50.4 million, with 90% of that coming from 3D showings. Well, no shit, 3D's in the title. Yeah, whoops. I just wasted all your guys' time. Here we go. Taking into account with inflation, the previous Jackass movies have performed better than Jackass Forever. Still with COVID still hampering the box office, Jackass Forever wasn't expected to reach those historic numbers. Add in the age of the franchise, its low budget, and stellar reviews, and Jackass Forever can still be labeled as a great success. And I'm sorry, guys, I know I wasted your time on this section, so let's go ahead and just move on. I'm not going to drag this out any longer. For any other franchise, the critical and box office success enjoyed by Jackass Forever would usually result in a quick greenlighting of another installment. Jackass's movies have followed a different path, however, with gaps of 4 years in between the first 3 Jackass movies and 12 years after that for Jackass Forever. The original gang is also now getting on in years, considering the physical demands and risks inherent in any Jackass movie. There is only so much punishment that they can take before the original Jackass cast sustains an injury they can't recover from. Still, Jackass made the good creative decision to bring on some fresh blood to the ranks, with Poopies. And I'm sorry, guys, I cannot pronounce his last name. It's Sean McKern. I apologize right now. I cannot pronounce his last name. So yeah, with Poopies being the standout of the new stunt performers, even if this ends well for Johnny Knoxville and the rest of the original cast members, Jackass 5 could still be on the cards down the line. Now, why did I want this video to act as a compendium to Moonfall? This is the biggest question. Why did I choose to defer giving my 2 cents for this one? It's rather simple. Because what Jackass Forever proved is you don't need the biggest budget to make a hit movie. Look at Moonfall. That movie, estimated budget of $138 to $146 million, very visual effects heavy, has got some heavy hitters with Halle Berry. Who else do they have? Patrick Wilson. He's not really that big of a heavy hitter, but still, you got people like, you got Halle Berry behind the movie. And Moonfall made half of what Jackass Forever made, despite having Halle Berry and the visual effects and having the summer blockbuster feel. No, it got its ass kicked by Jackass of all fucking movies. For all intents and purposes, Jackass Forever should have underperformed compared to Moonfall. But why Jackass Forever is considered a box office success, as we pointed out, Jackass Forever was only made on a budget of $20 million. You don't need a $100 million budget to make a fucking Jackass movie if you're familiar with Jackass at all. I know I've been saying this now for over a year, going on 18 months now, and I know I sound like a broken fucking record, but I'm going to keep hammering this point home. If your entire business model is relying on the fact that your movie must make $1 billion to break even, in the case of Moonfall, if you take the reported production budget, add in the costs of marketing, it's got to make somewhere around probably about $500 to $600 million just to break even. But still, my point still stands here. If your entire business model relies on the fact that your movie must make $1 billion to break even, then your business model was never fucking sustainable to begin with. Hopefully Hollywood will start reining its budgets back in. I personally think it's going to have to. You have Moonfall, ironically being a disaster movie, was an absolute fucking disaster at the box office. And here's this like little movie with Jackass Forever, where it's appealing to guys that are obviously older than me. I'm in my mid-20s. I was a little too young to watch Jackass at the time, but still, Jackass does better than Moonfall, a big budget sci-fi summer blockbuster. I think the tide is going to start turning to more and more. We're going to focus on the smaller budget films, and because as I pointed out, if your movie needs to make $1 billion just to break even, then your business model is not sustainable to begin with. And guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it right here before I tangent off for way too long and make this way longer than it needs to be. So if you stuck around this long, thanks so much for doing so. And if you've been following me long enough, you know I'm terrible at ending these videos, so I will just see you guys next time.